Where I'm supposed to be, just gone, just numb, just have a seat. Nah, I'ma flip it in a minute, make it look like your liquor limits. This is what you want, you can get it how you living.
We don't live in fear, we got a kingdom here. And if you think that we cowards in the power, if you look into the power and it's our will, go to war and we'll go to on. I know you see me moving, so I'm pushing the bar. Very secure, bucket is safe, so ready to start. I got away with words, that's why I feel like they're free like birds. Even if I'm gambling, I'ma trust my heart bank. Cause out of it flows the truth without me having to think. But if I gotta bet it all, it's to put red on guard without me having to blink.
You got one chance. You got one chance, it's tonight to get right, it's on you. You got one chance tonight to get it right, it's all you. You know it's yours, you got one chance, it's tonight to get it right, it's on you. You got one chance tonight to get it right, it's all you. You know it's yours. You got one chance, it's tonight to get it right, it's on you. You got one chance tonight to get it right, it's all you. Because of time and human existence, well, we gotta rise to the occasion. And I think you know, this is your chance. Let's go. You got one chance. What's going on, everybody? What's going on? Thank you so much for joining us here. This is Christopher J. Upchurch with the Christopher J. Upchurch Show. Tonight we have an awesome special guest tonight, Emanuel Zevallos. I'm telling you, this is going to be wonderful. So if you have been a person that have been crying out for healing or crying out for God to move or for certain things in your life that you've just been asking for the Lord to do, well, I'm telling you, this is a broadcast that you definitely don't want to miss, and you want to share, get as many as people as you can on here, because tonight you are going to be in for a treat. So give us a thumbs up if everybody can hear me well. Let me know you can hear me. I want to make sure you can hear the music or hear myself talk, and we're going to bring in Emanuel here in a second, but I want to make sure you guys can hear me well before we get started. So give us a thumbs up, comment, do some emojis, do something. Let me know you can hear us well. Perfect. Look like I see Lori commenting, saying she can hear us pretty well, hear the music pretty well. Great. Well, listen, man, I don't want to take too much time. I was excited about getting Emanuel here with us, and this gentleman here is a certified emotion and body code practitioner. I know, listen, we are believers, we're Christian believers, but a lot of times, a lot of us don't get the opportunity to really understand more of a facet of the gift of healing, right? So a lot of us, we read about the gifts of the Spirit, and we're believers, we profess Christ, but there are gifts of healing and administrations of them. So a lot of times it may not always be the way that you think it looks or the way it is because it's traditional. So to me, I believe the body of Christ is going to have a different upgrade as far as their knowledge and revelation about the gifts of the Spirit, about the manifestations of the gifts of healing. So tonight, I have an awesome gentleman. He's a husband, author. He's a believer, a devout Christian. I mean, the man of God is devoted himself to the entire faith of doing what we all need most right now, especially in our nation, which is healing, which is restoration of our bodies, restoration of our immune systems. And I believe a lot of us tonight are really going to get some true tangible connection of vital words from God's Spirit. And again, it may be wrapped differently, it may be packaged differently, but if you truly have the Spirit of God in you, then most of you could be able to discern and know that's the Spirit of God. It's just coming from a different way. It's sounding a little different. The method may be different, but the message obviously is still the same. Method may be different, message is still the same, still objective to helping us be healed through the body. So I'm excited again. Thank you so much for all of you that join us tonight. We're on the Christopher J. Upchurch Show on the Upchurch Music Radio. Be sure to share quickly. Share this in some groups, man. I think a lot of people, pastors, bishops, people that have been sick for years, people that have been trying to fight chronic illnesses for years, you're going to learn some awesome truths, some awesome empowering information to take with you immediately tonight on how you can immediately see your healing come forth in your life. Because I'm telling you, man, I was raised in a different culture to where maybe we depended on pharmaceutical drugs, and we depended on Tylenol, or depended on Advil. We depended on the doctors to tell us everything, and they believed it. And of course, I truly, I was a little different. I didn't believe everything they said, and that's why I believe God called me at a young age to be set apart, because I just saw through different things. So I'm excited to have the man of God on here tonight. Thank you so much for sharing, Miss Sue. Thank you so much, Miss Paige, for joining. Michelle, thank you. I'm excited for you guys to get on. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring Emanuel on, and we're going to go ahead and allow him to talk and introduce himself to us and to the world. And I'm going to share a little bit of my testimony, but I'm going to let him come on in and give a little backdrop of who he is. So without further ado, everyone, I'm going to go ahead and introduce Compass Healing, CEO, founder, awesome person, awesome man of God, Emanuel Zevallos, everyone. Let's go ahead and bring some clapping, standing ovations with some emojis if you can.
Yeah, that is some introduction, man. I'm so humbled. I was just like, I'm like, who's this guy he's talking about? But I appreciate the kind words, brother. And if
Yes,
no one
sir.
has complimented your glasses today, I want to personally tell you that those are the best glasses I've ever seen. So
thank you. Compliment to the wife. She said, honey, I think you look good on them. So put them on. All right, man, no problem. So yes, indeed. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so thank you so much for inviting me here. Thank you for everyone who's listening. Obviously, I'm a fan of Christopher Upchurch because we have a very interesting relationship where client sort of I was his practitioner, certified emotion code and body code practitioner. So it's kind of a blessing that he said, "Can I have you be interviewed?" Because I know you and I are both believers, and I want to see how like this system, this modality that you're doing, can really be incorporated to benefit the people that I know. And I just feel like it's time for like the windows to open, the lid to come off, and just say we gotta open up our minds to quantum physics and maybe tools that God has given us internally to be able to really help ourselves. And so I think that's very, very important. I think I lost you here. Oh, there you are.
Oh no, I'm screen shifting. Yeah, you're right. You know what? I did do a few sessions, and I mean, listen, everybody. You know, it blessed me because I was going through certain things, and you know, I had some stresses that I endured about 2 years ago, and then about 2008, 2019, I ran for a political office and in Mississippi, and I did it 2 years in a row, and that was stressful. I don't know if anyone understands how stressful running a governmental campaign can be. You know, where you're literally running for roles of legislation. So it was very, 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 very stressful to run 8, 9 months straight, you know, different parts of the cities, parts of the county. And it was just, it was tremendous, man. So I was stressed out, and my blood pressure raised up, and I'm so young. You know, people are like, you're too young there. I'm like, I know that. I know I am. But what can I do, God, right? I'm praying, I'm fasting. You know, I'm just being as faithful in as devoted as I can to believing how can I keep my temple right. And I just obviously kept shooting, right? Kept shooting up prayers, Emanuel. So I end up looking one day. This woman of God, she, I think I put something on this guy's page, right? That I did a marketing opportunity with, and I end up seeing a like. So I said, oh, okay, well, you know, this is cool. You know, I hope people are inspired by what I am and what I do for God, and any other things too that we're called to do. So I'll help clarify that too tonight. So people believe God is only in what looks like God, but God is in any and all things, whether it looks like it can be good or bad. God still turns it around for good. So a lot of people really got to read the Bible. God is, he said, if I made my bed in hell, you're still there. So it's powerful to understand God is truly omnipresent in it all. So it doesn't mean that God, amen, could again initiate a thing, but God can still be in through it all. So my point is tonight, you know, I looked at this and I said, wow, just reaching certain people could bring the manifestation of the kingdom of God to them. And so I seen this, and I seen this woman of God. She was posting certain things about what she did, and I was like, I said, okay, so I'm being led, and so I kept watching the videos, and then I was looking you guys up, googling, I was just studying, looking at YouTube videos, and I was like, dude, if he says he's a person of faith, I know this is God. And he said, yeah, we're believers. I was like, oh, this is great. And I was like, oh, this is just great. I'm done. Let me go ahead and sign up. Let me pay. Let me go ahead and book my session. And ever since I did, everybody, I'm telling you, my life has changed. And this is going on the third week to where my blood pressure has been like 110 over 60, 120, 115, I mean, over 65, over, I mean, it's been completely perfect, y'all. I'm talking about you know what I mean? So that's a testimony to let you know why I felt so compelled to bring Emanuel on. So yeah, I'm like, sure, most definitely. And I think this will truly change a lot of your guys' health and lives to really do this, because I was taking blood pressure medicine, and it was, you know, I didn't like it. I was too young. You know, I just felt like, why would I need this? I'm fasting, I'm praying, I'm tithing, giving, doing all this stuff in church. But then it's like, okay, I see what the church is afraid to do. They don't really want to get into what really still is healing, because they feel like it's competition and all these other weird things that stops us really from being healed, because it doesn't look like the formula of God, or it doesn't look like the churchy way, a denominational way, or the bishop's way. And I'm like, listen, hey, sir, as long as I'm here, you profess Jesus Christ, I'm cool. As long as I know you still got a, you know, background and the foundation of God, the Most High God, I'm good. This means this is another teaching of healing that the body of Christ needs to get into. Mental health is great. I believe we need to teach and talk about therapy and counseling right now. People are quarantined. But with all of that, we need to learn, okay, you're going through a lot mentally, but let's remove all those emotions. Let's help the body get restored back because of all what we've been going through, period. So, you know, guys, this is what I was doing with Emanuel. So, man, I'm grateful for you, Emanuel. Can you tell us, you know, when did you get started with this, or can you give us a little background about who you are? Do you mind?
Sure. First of all, yeah, I am truly a believer of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. So just putting it out there, and here's the thing, guys, is that your mind is like a parachute. It only really works when it's open. I don't know if you've ever heard that before. And another one of my favorite quotes that kind of always question my paradigms, because sometimes there's a book called The Millionaire Mind, or The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, and it's not really about just money, but it talks more about like sort of our philosophies, and what we've grown up with. And one of the things that I really loved about that book that kind of opened up my mind, it says, you're either right or you're rich, but you can't be both. And that always kind of made me wonder. I'm like, okay, well, if I'm so rich and like with having a positive attitude, or if I'm so rich in my relationships, or if I'm so rich in my spirituality, why can't I sleep at night? Or if I'm so rich in my relationships, why am I fighting with my wife but nobody knows about it? You see, so we're kind of a society that we'd rather be right than be rich. So I'm trying to find more ways to be wrong so that I can be wealthy in another way in my life. And so that's kind of how I live my life ever since I was around 25, 26 years old. I was kind of seeking to like I don't have everything in my life. So it's like I need to be open-minded, so then I don't just stop growing. And so in around 2015, I had a situation where, I don't know if anyone's ever been in it, but like in a state of malaise. My relationship was the job that I was in, I was like, what am I doing here? And I was not getting paid what I was worth. I was struggling with being present with my children, because that's what happens when you're under that thing called stress. So I was dealing with all this stuff, and I was just kind of praying and asking God for help. Like, hey, where do I go from here? And not that I have a lot of high expectations from two oncologists and hematologist doctors. I mean, if that's not hard enough to impress them, but it's like I have some big shoes to fill. And all of a sudden, I was just kind of asking for some help from above, and Amazon recommends me a book called The Emotion Code by Dr. Bradley Nelson. And what's really interesting is that they say that coincidence is God's way of staying anonymous, right? And so I didn't really believe it was coincidence. I took a look at it. I was like, I got to go read this book, and I started reading it, and I was like, energy healing. I was like, oh no. I was like, what are my parents going to think about this? They're like super logical. It's all about chemotherapy. However, my mother was definitely a pioneer in the holistic health. She really believed in Eastern, Western medicine combined together, and a shout out to my mother who passed away back in 2011 with pancreatic cancer. But she really believed in Eastern, Western medicine kind of combining together, that, it's not all about, code red situations and then, have a doctor help on it. It's all about wellness. And more, I think now in this time with Dr. Oz and, Joe Dispenza and so many other health practitioners out there, even the medical medium, there's so many people that are now talking about wellness, and that ancient cultures really knew how to take care of themselves. But as kind of big pharma came out, all of a sudden it's just like, nah, I'd rather just get a quick fix, quick Band-Aid, quick, and we didn't realize that our ancestors knew how to take care of their temple, and so it's very, very important. Like if you believe in someone who, you really want to, honor your temple, then is it possible that God gave us some tools that are made out of our bodies? You guys know we're all energy, right? I mean, if you were to take a microscope and kind of scope into your hands and then keep going deeper and deeper, you'd find your bones, your cells, and then what you would find is energy, right? So we're all energetic beings. What you see as solid isn't really solid. There's a lot of nothingness within the solid, and that's all quantum physics. But the question is, have we gone to a deeper level of quantum physics to understand that we're emotional human beings? I mean, that there's a reason why we feel these emotions, why we care about families, and why we feel connected, why we feel disconnected. We're beyond, animal species, right? Obviously, we're all created in the image of our Creator. So here's what I found out is that around 2015, I read the book, and it said that you can work with people long distance, and that's where my skepticism went way off the roof. And what happened was that I started researching this gentleman named Dr. Bradley Nelson. You may want to write that name down, Dr. Bradley Nelson. He wrote the book called The Emotion Code, and it was forwarded by Tony Robbins. And if you guys don't know Tony Robbins, then you're living under a rock. I mean, he's probably the most successful life coach, transformational coach on the planet. And he forwarded the book. That's kind of a big deal. And it just came out in May 2019, but it was published like 10 or 11 years before that. self-published by Dr. Brad. Just to let you know kind of how the world's evolving. No one would knock on Dr. Brad's door when he was, revealing this type of information. 11 years later, the top 3 publishers in the world are knocking on his door, all bidding on who can publish his book. And I really believe is because, when Satan moves, his queen forward, I really believe God also moves the queen, right? We believe in opposite of all things, right? And there's like a light war and there's a dark war. And we have to understand, like, where is the light war? What do we have as tools? Who are our soldiers at this time? And especially during this dark time during COVID. Well, here's what's interesting is that Dr. Brad found out that he just wanted to help out his clients. He was a chiropractor for 20 years. And he would use muscle testing. Some of you guys know what muscle testing is, where you ask questions to your body, push down on your arm, and your body gives you a yes or no answer. For example, if I said, my name is Emanuel, my arm would be strong. If it says, my name is Bob, my arm would go down, okay? And so that's kind of, that's muscle testing. You can ask certain questions to your body. And a lot of chiropractors have used that since, back in the 1950s, just to look for misalignments in the body. But Dr. Brad goes further, and he kept asking for help from above. That's what I love about this man, is because ever since he met with one client, he always used to ask for help from above. And he has to
give us one moment. We had a little technical difficulty. We're going to make sure Emmanuel gets back on. I believe there was a little issue or disconnect there, but I hope all of you are enjoying the broadcast thus far, and we're going to go ahead and bring Emmanuel back on.
Okay, sorry about that, guys. And that's
okay.
Dr. Brad makes a joke sometimes where he says that a lot of the people who have crossed over that are not on the good side, maybe they mess with our electronics so the right message doesn't come across. He makes a joke about that. But what I wanted to share is that Dr. Brad was he was just asking for help, and this is what I admire about him is that before he met with every client, he found that sometimes God would just give him, it would flood his head with information on how to help out his patient. And so he just and that didn't happen all the time. It would just happen once in a while. But because he saw that happen from time to time, he kind of made it a duty to always pray before he meets with his clients. But there came a time though where it was just chronic illnesses, chronic diseases. He had no idea what to do, right? Chiropractor is kind of limited. So he said, how can I help out these patients who have really serious chronic illnesses, really serious chronic diseases? And there started some information started kind of downloading in his mind. And what he found out is that your organs and glands are producing these emotional energies. Now, I want you guys to follow me, okay? Because some of you guys, your mind already left and clocked out, but I need you guys to come back real quick. Because what happens is that your organs and your glands can produce these emotional energies the size of a tennis ball to a cantaloupe. See, so my whole life I thought it was all my brain that was feeling these emotions, sadness, happiness, depression, whatever. What he found out, and even basically Chinese medicine teaches that your organs, your liver, for example, produces anger, bitterness, guilt, hatred, resentment. So somebody who drinks too much alcohol or too much caffeine, you know who you are, or maybe you know someone who is that, for no judgment here, but you know who you are, you know someone that's like that. They can get easily angered or easily bitter or easily feel guilt. That's because their liver is overactive and the fatty tissues are overworking, and so they're producing that emotional energy more readily. How many of you guys know Christopher Reeve? Anybody know Christopher Reeve? Hopefully I'm not outdating myself. Okay. So my opinion, he's like the real Superman. That's my opinion. You guys can box me afterwards, but
you are Superman.
Yeah, he was Superman. Yeah, but what's really sad about it is his wife, for example, died of lung cancer, and most people don't know that. Her family, for example, has no history of lung cancer. She's never smoked a cigarette. Christopher Reeve never smoked. So the question is, the Western medicine has no idea why the wife of Christopher Reeve passed away of lung cancer. And the answer is because if you look at the emotion code, it makes way more sense. Because guess what produces grief is the lungs. The lungs produce grief. So imagine she was creating all these trapped emotions of grief, which can irritate the tissues, which then can create disease, which then can create cancer. You see, so it makes way more sense in the emotion code world, the quantum physics world, why she passed away with lung cancer. And basically, we just use muscle testing, like I was mentioning. We can use magnets to remove these emotional energies from your body. And if you remember, Christopher, when we first met, we focused on pain. We focused on pain the first time. And that's kind of the first way I love to kind of let people know how real this is I like to kind of lower people's pain down on the spot within 5 to 10 minutes. Because once you get your pain going down, now you know it's real, and that I'm not just making this up. And you might say, well, that's placebo effect. That it's because you're talking to me. That's why it's going down, right? But I've also worked on animals. Animals have emotions, right? I mean, if you don't think animals have emotions, we got to have a heart-to-heart talk here. I mean, animals definitely have emotions, and also little babies too. I mean, how sad is it when you see a baby who's colic, or how sad is it when you see a 6-year-old who has night terrors and you have no idea how to help them? An emotion code, body code practitioner can go in there and help that little child out. So it can't be placebo because the child's not on the phone. It can't be placebo because I don't speak dog. So it's very powerful, this modality that we're using here.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Thank you so much. Listen, I don't know if any of you are kind of getting your ears wet now, feeling a little more intrigued about what Emanuel's talking about, because again, there are so many methods to healing. There's so many ways to help us in this nation right now, where there are so many people that are trying to find solutions for their emotions. I mean, people's emotions are running wild. 1 minute, I don't know, stimulus this, or 1 minute, impeachment this. I mean, it's just back and forth. Capitol Hill, whatever. Government's going to do this. Coronavirus, new strand. Emotions are really going crazy. So the reality is, the emotion code. I listened to the audiobook. Actually, I think I told you that, man. I listened to the audiobook, and you gotta listen to this. You gotta learn. You gotta get an opportunity to find out how you can actually get your emotions balanced, because they are energy. They literally are energy. Jesus said in John 6:63, he said, "The words that I speak to you are spirit in life." So spirit, it can't see it, but you can feel it. There's a presence there. There is air. There is energy. He said he blew breath he blew his spirit and made a man, a living soul, a living emotion, a living will, intellect, an ability to have cognitive reasoning, logic, compartmentalization, memory, brain, physiological, psychological functions. He blew his spirit in to us, mankind. So we are literally an origin, or the etymology of our creator, of the alpha, of the A. You know what I mean? We really come from God, from spirit. So a lot of times, again, everybody, to me, I believe today's church focuses a lot on the traditional lay hands. You got to come see me, the doctor, come to my office. Well, we're in quarantine. A lot of people are afraid to catch the new strand or the previous strand. They don't got Moderna. They don't, they're trying to, what do we do? Well, we can speak to you. He said, send the word, and my soldier will be healed, because I'm a person under authority. And so this is how powerful this is. Emanuel's certified. He has the authoritative ability by study and his experience. And Dr. Bradley, and a little background about Dr. Bradley, I'm sure you can let them understand too. He's a chiropractor, he's a doc, he's certified, he has the authority to be able to help restore a different practice of wellness in your emotions, in your physical body, in coding this, getting it functioning right. You were a little off here, now let's get you aligned. Maybe that's why you're dizzy. Maybe that's why you're sick, because we are a full, whole being of a spirit, and we're wrapped up into this matter. We're wrapped up into atoms in this physical manifestation of our body, our shell. So again, we need people like Emanuel to really help speak this truth, especially to those in the church that believe they have the gift of healing. There are a lot of people that believe they got a gift of healing. I'm a prophet, I'm an apostle, I'm a pastor. I can lay hands on you and you shake and buck and spit, but then all of a sudden, you know, you yourself don't know how to keep yourself well. You're going to keep running to the pastor. And so now, you know, the emotion code and the body code, it teaches you how to even keep yourself well. Like you're speaking to the ancient cultures of our history of past, they learn how to keep themselves well. And it dealt with a lot of natural elements. It dealt with a lot of understanding their bodies and their emotions and keeping themselves in a meditative state to be well and their minds to be well and at peace. So, you know, I just really want everybody to understand this is something that I think God wants to highlight this year. God wants to bring out this year. And I told some people, hey, the church is going to see and hear things unfold and unpack differently than they once heard before. There's going to be a lot of things that is just going to be like, hey, that ain't working no more. You know, what's going on? We should be healing people in the hospital. We should be late. And I believe a lot of this has to deal with knowledge. God says, my people perish for a lack of this, a lack of knowledge. And so I believe the gift of healing that Emanuel is speaking to, he's really highlighting and illuminating the knowledge of what we don't use in our modern world as believers with our faith in God. So, you know, Brother Manuel, can you let us know how long your journey has been in what you've been doing, and how many people, you know, have been tremendously changed, and even in background, maybe a little bit of Dr. Bradley and why he's you know, someone that, you know, carries a heavy mandate, or I want to say a heavy conviction to release this because of where his profession, you know, started out as, and he had a vision and kind of give the understanding of where people can see the origin of why this is such a heavy conviction or a heavy desire or a burden for you to really release this and help others get healed.
Well, first of all, the crazy thing, I mean, if I can be very real with everyone, go ahead and put a real in the comment section if it's okay if I'm real with you guys. But we live in a life of censorship. You know, you can't say certain things. You know, otherwise Instagram will block you or Facebook will block you. You know, like, don't talk about vaccines. We're gonna block you because that's not right information. We have to have this department down in the African area to, you know, talk bad about, you know, the misinformation that you're putting out there. See, we live in a, unfortunately, we live in a world like that's kind of like influenced by like the blood of Cain and Abel. Like, you know, like you know, the reality is like when it comes down to like you know, do you remember when Abel was murdered and you know, now he said all of a sudden he's like, I'm free, you know. But that's the last thing he was is free, you know. But basically what it started was that it's okay to acquire wealth even if you have to kill your brother, right? And that's kind of what big pharma and a lot of companies out there, it's just like, we're willing to tear down people's lives as long as we make profits. But that's really what it is. So nothing is changed from the Cain and Abel incident. It's only duplicated and manifested in different forms, but it's the same spirit. It's the same spirit. And here's the thing, like, you know, get ahead. It doesn't matter if you tear people down, just get ahead. You know, it's a dog-eat-dog world. You see, that's more of Satan's doctrine. That's not really how God wants us to work. You see, and so what's interesting about Dr. Brad is that you know, I consider the motion code body code as like just a tool. Just think of it as a tool that God gave to us to kind of help alleviate the emotional, physical, spiritual baggage that we have. It is no way a replacement of the Bible. It is in no way a replacement of the placement of hands. It's no way a replacement of the Holy Ghost. All that has its part in your life. You should be utilizing all of those. Yes. But on top of that, what are you using to create wellness in your life? Could you use other tools? For example, you know, in the Bible, it doesn't say eat healthy greens all the time, but we know we should probably eat more greens in our life. You know, it doesn't say in the Bible, hey, let's go exercise, but we exercise because you know that the body needs it. So the Bible's not a manual to like overall wellness, but there's just amazing principles to live a godly life. And then we have to kind of fill in the blank. But I really feel like, you know, we would be very highly egotistical if we thought that the people that made a car are more intelligent than an all-knowing creator. Because the person who created the car was like, this needs a tune-up system. Whenever this gas light comes on, or whenever this comes on, that means this needs to be checked, and then we can fix it this way. The body has the same thing. If you don't know how amazing it is to create a baby, we just had a kid recently. If you were to really get a full encyclopedia of what happens when the creation of a baby, man, we would be. It would be weird to not believe in God. It'd be strange, So and that's the same way I look at the immune system. If you don't think the immune system is the most amazing system on the planet, I mean, even Dr. Brad said, he said, you could take the most dirtiest, most homeless, most illiterate, just at the bottom of the bottom pit homeless person, and if you could see through him and like understand like that he has a temple, and that in the design of his body, how amazing it is, even us, we would like worship down and get on our knees on how beautiful a body truly is. Because he understands that this amazing system, we have 2 eyes, 2 kidneys, 2 lungs. There's a reason why we have all these backup systems and everything. So Dr. Brad, all he really did was he just said, we need to have access to what really controls our body. There's the conscious brain, which is, I ate cereal today, I called my friend, I decided to wake up. Those are conscious decisions. Subconscious is like your heartbeat rate right now. You can't really control it. How you're breathing, you haven't thought about your breathing all day today. There's something that's recording everything you hear, everything you see. That's all subconscious brain. And picture like the bottom of a glacier, it's like we all look at the peak, the top of it, and we think that's the glacier. It's not. It's the bottom part, and that's the part where all our problems really resided, is the subconscious part. And so what sinks the Titanic, the top part or the bottom part? The bottom part does. And so that people are wondering, like, oh, I'm just going to put a Band-Aid on the top of the glacier. I'm just going to put a Band-Aid on it, put a little bridge on it, whatever. But they're ignoring the bottom part. And that's the thing that's going to sink your ship down, And so it's very, very important. Like, for example, I want to give you guys a little, a quick example of a session that I did. It was very powerful. For example, one of the things that's very unknown is, why do people have dyslexia? I work with a lady who was 19 years old, and I started working on her using the body code. Now, here's how it works, okay? So because I'm not with you in person, there's a thing you can work called via proxy. If you're taking notes, go ahead and write down proxy. Proxy means it's like basically having a connection with someone else just for the purpose of doing a session. Now, see, we have to even be careful with the word healing, because it's a very climactic word. Everyone kind of freaks out. They're like, wait, how can you get healing? No, healing only comes from God. It's like this, everyone freaks out. So really, just say we're removing imbalances from the body, just energies from the body, and allowing the body to heal itself, the immune system. No doctor will debate that the immune system has a way for it to kind of heal itself and repair itself, okay? So what happens is that I use muscle testing, which you'll see my fingers like this, is because I can't reach over, and push down on your arm. So I would say, for example, if I was working with you, Christopher, I would say, my name is Christopher. So what I'm doing is I'm almost like I'm dialing you, like Morse code, like I'm just dialing you, and this huge phone cord is going all the way to you, and it'll come where it'll say, my name is Emanuel, and my bot, and this becomes weak. So if it's strong, it means yes. If it's weak, it means no. So if I say my name is Christopher, all of a sudden it's strong. Now that means you and I are connected now. Only for the purposes of removing imbalances, not to get the lottery ticket, not to find a secret combination lock in your house in the vault, It's just to figure out like what's going on so I can help you out, And I don't know about you, but the fact that you can work on someone long distance, like, can you imagine removing depression from an Asian child who's age 6? I mean, do you think that's of Satan, or do you think that's of God? Or, or you can give him depression pills, and then he'll have immune system issues when he's 17 or 18. I mean, what do you want to do? So I don't really feel like God has any sort of parameters where it's like, that there's no distance that can block from the love of God. That's how I look at also long distance energy healing as well. So because there's no distance, I can work with clients all over the world. I'm using my fingers to get answers, and then I use a magnet on myself to release the energy from you. Yes, it's a kind of a weird motion that I'm doing, but again, open-mindedness is what's going to leave you with wealth in all areas of your life. If what's not working for you, why are you so close-minded? And so I'm just trying to figure out, like, the main thing is this, is that I worked with a lady, and she had, I was working with her in her brain. And what's really interesting is that there's a thing called the spiritual physical disconnection. What this means is that there's two types. Your spirit is communicating with your physical body at all times. There's a communication going back and forth, right? We're all like the hand and the glove, right? It's, we're all in there, right? But the thing is, sometimes the hand and the glove are not communicating right, or maybe there's like holes in there, if you will, right? So what's happening is that I'm working with this person, and there's two types. Either the spirit's not communicating with the physical, or the organs and gland all have a spiritual version themselves. So for example, your heart has a little spiritual heart inside of it. Your liver has a spiritual liver. And what we're seeing is diseases and illnesses out there in society is the spiritual liver sticking out of the physical. And if it does that long enough, that person starts getting liver cancer. And we don't know what's going on. But usually it's emotional baggage, and usually it's toxins, like some type of toxin, some type of emotional baggage. And that's why the spirit's kind of slowly leaving the physical, right? What's happening is that I work with this lady, and parts of her brain, the spiritual was sticking out of the physical, with the temporal lobe, the parietal lobe. There's different lobes that were kind of just off. And I was asking her, I'm like, when did you get this trauma? And guess what it was? 2 huge monumental moments when her father physically abused her. And she remembered it yesterday. She remembered it like yesterday. And she was like, oh yeah, that's when this happened. And he threw me in here and did da, 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 da. I fixed those two. I put the spiritual back in the physical in the brain. All of a sudden she read for the first time the next day. And then she's like, this can't be real. She's like, I gotta go try this again when I'm reading tired. And then the next day she read tired. She's like, man, I can still read, you know? And then the third time she's like, no. I gotta read small letters. There's no way I can read this. And then she went in there. She's like, I could read small writing. So can you imagine the joy that she felt at age 19 to read for the first time? If she only knew that a practitioner can help her remove this emotional baggage, she would have even read sooner, like earlier in her life, you know? So it's a very beautiful thing to help people with these imbalances.
Wow, y'all. How many people are excited about hearing, you know, just that part of the testimony that Emanuel just shared with us, that moment of knowing that there is always some level of practice and some level of application, wisdom, basically, to what it is that we need to do to be well, whether we need to stretch, whether we need to do different things with our body. And so a lot of times, like Emmanuel said, sometimes we want to make it too weird for us. And it doesn't have to be that way, everybody. You don't have to, you know, again, make yourself feel like, oh, this is weird, or this is, not what I was used to or familiar with. Yeah, and that takes some unlearning, but it is a different practice, again, to the application of helping us, again, our bodies heals itself, our emotions get back intact. And again, there are different things you'll learn and knowledge that you'll pick up here and towards the end of the show. I'm sure Emmanuel will obviously lead all of you that are listening to make sure you learn that and get some time to be able to set up sessions with him, and that way your lives will be able to be changed, and you'll really see, like, oh my God, this was something that, like Manuel's saying, if that young lady would have probably knew that this was something that was available at the doctor's office, and maybe the doctor already knew how to do this, or had someone else do it, if that doctor wasn't a person that cared about that in that type of passion or whatnot to do that. But this is something I believe that is wide open for us today, the citizens of the United States or beyond, to really get this type of application of wellness, man. I mean, this is just tremendous. Like I said, I had some pains and things like that in my back and my spine, and there are different things that was going on with myself, and I had to keep pressing on, obviously, and just keep believing God. But I believe in the Spirit of God. I believe He leads me and directs me in all truth. And so, like I said earlier, I was led to this opportunity, this prophetic window here with Emanuel, to be able to get those prayers, and that's those petitions and supplications and offerings and just loving on God. And God loves me too much to say, I'm not going to let you keep being hurt no more. I'm not going to let you keep walking around here, with all this baggage, with your spiritual leap out and get up out of there. And now no, I appreciate God allowing and loving me that much to give me so much mercy to be able to come across Compass Healing, to come across Emanuel's life, because many people have great callings, right? Much is required, much is given, much is required. And a lot of you probably on here are probably music artists, pastors, whatever it is your career that has such a heavy responsibility, and you want to be as well and as healthy as possible. And I'm telling you, if you're sitting here saying, man, I got an ache here or whatever been going on, and I am afraid to tell, blah 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 blah. I'm telling you, this will be the platform. This will be the opportunity for you to be able to get yourselves together again. Piggyback on what Emmanuel was saying. We're not saying leave the Spirit of God out. We're not saying leave God out, the Most High God, Amen, the Father. We're not saying leave church or your faith or the application of prayer. We're not saying that. We're saying add on to what it is that we're doing. And I believe this has been a lost art. This has been a lost practice with healing and being well in our lives. And I believe that is an awesome application to use. And I believe that can accelerate our healings and our wellness of our bodies, because the Spirit of God, I'm sure, has led all of you here to listen to us tonight on the Christopher J. Upchurch show on Upchurch Music Radio. So I'm telling you, I've been blown away. I was like, man, listen, any chance I get, I'm going to definitely, mention this and mention, where people need to go. And even myself, I told them I want to be able to help other people too. And continue to study and learn and be able to do it myself as a practitioner. But I also always want to make sure I'm a person that is a living, walking witness of the transformation too, of what I'm talking about. I have to be the first partaker of the manifestation of what I'm saying that someone else needs to apply to their lives. So, I'm excited about that whole transition in development too. But Emmanuel, I know it's not just you. Obviously, I know you have a partner. All right, I know you have your wife. Miss Jessica. How has that been a blessing, or how has how does that help even individuals that maybe want a wife, want a husband, or want a business? Now, I know you mentioned the lottery, but there are so many things now that people really have questions for, that this practice of wellness can actually attract to their lives. Can you explain that in a simplified way to where, again, people will just understand how we lay in this foundation, but it still can apply to other areas in your life, to where maybe you divorced, and
Yep.
like you said, your parents maybe weren't there, or where's this full circle of where God allows the whatever bad happened to you can become good for these types of practices here?
Great question. First of all, obviously my wife, shout out to my wife, Jessica Zevallos. She's a huge blessing, and she's also a believer as well. There's nothing more beautiful than, two believers building a practice together. And, and what's really interesting is that, we need to remember that, like, the Spirit was meant for us to discern things. In James 1:5, it says, if any of you lack wisdom, ask of God, who giveth to all men liberally and upbraideth not. We have, you can ask and say, is this something of God? But there's a really, Jesus already taught us the best way. And he says, by their fruits ye shall know them.
Yeah.
So what are the fruits of the emotion code? If you read my testimonials from my practice, and it's like, someone was able to read again, someone got over their grieving from their family, someone can pay attention in school, someone has higher self-esteem, someone is getting closer to the Creator. I mean, all of these are all great fruits. And so that's kind of a good way to do it. But I also do want to warn people that there are forms of energy healing that are from the other side, and to do your due diligence. So here's the funny thing is, like, if you're going to really, be a shepherd, I'm not going to be a hireling, or I'm going to run away when the wolf comes. I'm going to be a shepherd. Is that you got to make sure that you study that, like, for example, the internet, the tool is amazing, but the person or the spirit behind the tool is what makes the internet dangerous or beautiful. See, so the internet brought us a lot of great things, but the internet also brought us a lot of horrible things that we wish weren't here on earth, probably cause more child prostitution, or cause, more people to be on pornography or whatever. It's got the bad side, but the good side, again, it's what's behind the tool. So you have to make sure, like, who is this person that I'm interacting with? What type of person? That's number one, is very important. Or number two, where is the origin of this energy healing modality? That's why most churches, they would rather put a blanket, throw the whole baby with the water out, and be like, just because there's 10%, 15% of people that maybe they don't practice well, they don't give credit to the creator, maybe it comes from a bad source. That's why the church is being smart on a PR level to say, hey, let's just cancel it all together. Let's not even mess with that. Let's just stay with our old ways and keep doing what we're doing. But we have to realize, like, we weren't made of creatures just to listen to other people. In fact, one of my favorite things was, when Jesus asked, who do people say that I am? And everyone's saying, some people say you're John the Baptist come back from the dead. Some people say, you're Elijah, and he said, he didn't really make a comment to any of those people. But as soon as he asked Peter, he says, who do you say that I am? He says, thou art Jesus, the Son of the living God, and he said, blessed art thou, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood have not told you this, but my Father which is in heaven, and upon this rock I will build my church. A lot of people confuse what that rock actually means. That rock is revelation from above, to receive answers from the direct source of all truth. And most people listen to flesh and blood. This is what my faith is. You're my son. You will follow the same faith. Hey, I'm a pastor over here. You come this way. See, that's all flesh and blood. But God is telling you the secret. He said to Simon Bar-Jonah, he said, blessed are you, because you didn't go to flesh and blood. You went straight to the source and you asked, is this something of God? So it's very, very key. You have the power to do that as a son or daughter of God. And I want to share with you the last thing here. I know I'm getting kind of excited over here because I like talking about my faith, but what I want to share is there's a really powerful thing called, the heart wall. You guys want to write this down. Trust me. This is probably going to be the most game-changing information I'm about to share with you right now. And I'm telling you, if this whole world got rid of all the walls around their heart, as you hear in the good book, it says, as ye thinketh in your heart, so are you. As ye thinketh in your heart. And you're like, wait a minute, the heart doesn't think, or does it think? There's more science proving right now that besides your brain sending messages to your organs and glands, your heart is also sending communication to your organs and glands. Those who suffer with emotional trauma, sexual, physical trauma, for some reason their health declines, probably because their heart is not communicating properly to their organs and glands. There's a way to fix that. There's a way to remove the walls. But what I love about Dr. Brad's story is that his wife had serious bouts of depression. His wife always felt like she was outside looking in. She always felt that in her life. And she received a dream, and he says, okay, well, let me see what this is all about. And it was really powerful. He saw this. I don't know if you know about this, Christopher. I'm kind of throwing you out there in the bus with me, but he basically looked at the floor, and the floor started changing, and basically there's this amazing wood that kind of showed up on the floor, and he didn't know what it meant. He's like, why am I seeing this amazing wood, like no nicks on it, no nothing. It was like just perfectly flawless wood. And basically he heard something say that your wife's heart is underneath this floor. And so then he came back to his wife to say, do you know what this means? She's like, I have no idea. And for the first time in history, Dr. Brad muscle tests his wife, because he's a logical brain guy, and says, well, your body would know about this. Let's ask, do you have a heart wall? For the first time, her arm said yes. And so how many of you guys have ever felt your heart feel heavy, or it feels like it's going to break? I mean, come on, let's be real now. You get into a breakup, someone passes away, stress at work, just heavy on the heart, right? Yeah, what Dr. Brad found out is that he found out that your body has a defense mechanism against broken heart syndrome. What is broken heart syndrome? Is when the tendons inside the heart are stretching, that the heart collapses, and you can literally die of it. And you'll have one of those things on your toe that says BHS on it. Now, if you ask a Mayo Clinic cardiologist maybe 20 years ago, hey, what causes that broken heart? He'd say, well, a lot of stress, maybe excess cortisol in the body. If you ask a cardiologist 10 years ago, they'll say death in the family, relationship breakup, divorce, stress can enable the heart to break. But what Dr. Brad found out is that your body is placing these trapped emotions over your heart to protect it from breaking. So if your father was beating on you and you felt resentment towards him, your body will take a resentment trapped emotion, scoop it up and place it over the heart, and then now you have a resentment wall. And as you start adding these walls over, the world just gets dimmer. Let me tell you the 5 symptoms of the heart wall, and let me know if you guys put a 1 down there. Every time I mention a new symptom, put a 1 if you've ever experienced this, or 2 for like the second symptom, 3rd. I just want to see, watch how everyone's kind of alike here, okay? Number 1 is the heart wall will lower your immune system and will cause you to have less energy. Put a 1 down there if you feel like, man, I wish I did have more energy in my life. I feel like I'm always trying to like drink a coffee or drink something to kind of have more energy. So number 1, your energy would go lower, right? Number two would be lack of clarity of your mission in life. How many of you guys are like wondering in your head, I wonder if there's something out there I feel like I should be doing, you know, like there's like, you know, I wonder if I'm using all my God's gifts and talents out there, you know. I think a lot of people would relate to that, you know. Or maybe you're going to like maybe you like what you do and you know it's your mission only in your mind, but your heart hasn't confirmed it. So you would have more happiness, joy, and elation if your heart wall was cleared. Then number 3 is, how many of you guys, like when people give you love and affection, maybe even your partner for a long time, you're just like, I see you giving me love, but I don't feel it like the way I used to, you know?
Yeah, that's a good one there.
Almost desensitized, you know?
I've been there.
And then what about the 4th one? When you give love to someone and they don't feel or they misinterpret what you say. How many times does that happen to you where you're like, no, I didn't mean it like that, honey? She's like, are you being rude? I'm not being rude. Okay, what is that weird tension? And in your mind, watch this, because we're men, right? We can be real. We think like our woman's having a bad day. You know, it's like we just, blessed are you who have a bad day, you know? But the reality is it's our hearts are having bad days or having bad years. And we're sending mixed messages to people, and relationships are hard. And the last thing, number 5, is abundance and wealth. You know, it can hold you back from, how many of you guys think there's a ceiling over your wealth? It could be a heart wall issue. So those are 5 symptoms that come from the heart wall. Also depression, anxiety, and also PTSD as well can stem from the heart wall. So if you have any of those symptoms, that could be also a heart wall. So I want to share that with you guys. That's, if you ever were to move forward in doing some energy healing, the heart wall is a good place to start, to remove that, so that way you can feel the way you used to feel when you were 4 or 5 years old, when life was more colorful, everything was more beautiful, you felt like a kid. You know, that's why when Jesus was walking around, he didn't really heal kids as much as he healed adults. He just blessed them and said, go on your way, keep being you. Is because that's where we want to return. We want to be like children again. We want to feel like children again. And we can do that and still be adults and still live an adult life. And it's very possible if you remove that heart wall.
Wow. Man, this is so good. I mean, he's breaking so much down to where it really helps us to now evaluate like a whole sphere of holistic way of living, and you know, and really be honest, breaking I want to say whatever could have been a curse, something that hindered the fullness of your life and your family life, meaning abundant life, prosperous life, abundant life, opulent life. I mean, a life that is full of treasures to be found, treasures to be enjoyed. And if you know, have a lot of these barriers and things of that nature on your heart, you know, that just layer after layer, this is why it's so important to be able to, again, add to what we've already been doing as a Christian church. But we're saying, man, I'm still, you know, something is not digging deep enough. And I'm one of those people where I'm real and say, God, I've had supernatural, you know, events happen before the motion code, before Mr. Emanuel, but I'm saying, I said, well, maybe it's something where I'm learning. Maybe, you know, God is teaching me something. Maybe it's something I'm just must endure hardship, you know, in as a good soldier, or if I'm suffering for righteous sake, then endure is my reward coming, etc. You know, or if I did something wrong, then I ain't got nothing to say. I just got to endure the suffering, you know. But we know for a fact, a lot of us are like, man, what is the thing I need to get past the cycle, or past the thing that constantly keeps me here, or keeps my family here. And I truly, am so, man, like, grateful and pleased to be able to have this part of my life now, because again, I feel so much better, and I have, obviously, in a different level extension of family, you know what I'm saying? And so that's a great thing too in life, with Emmanuel and all what he's doing. And but it's something I think a lot of us really need to take serious on tonight, on today, when you're listening to this. Make sure, those of you that have been praying and asking, what is it that I need different? What is it that I've been asking God to do? Is this the answer? Maybe this was the answer, hearing this today, hearing this now. This is what I have been needing a solution or answer for, because all the other things, it's not that I don't believe, again, you hear me say it failed. Maybe it's a leading to a whole nother level of wellness for your life, because sometimes God can, again, do all what he wants to do, but this is a part of you, I guess, being more mature, for you to take care of yourself and learning something else about your walk, and on how to take care of you in a different way, to be able to help someone else too. And so I think that's something that a lot of people should and take away from this interview today, to understand what the emotional body code is. And let me ask you this, Emmanuel. What would you want to say to those that are listening right now, if they got body aches and pains, or heartaches and different things? How would you help introduce them the opportunity to personally, get in contact with you, and start them in a place to where they can, talk to you and get some sort of introduction about what this all was about today?
Yeah, so basically, just to let you know, just to kind of keep it very simple, is that 80 to 90% of the issues you're dealing with in your life are emotional, and so it's just that I think that's a good place to start, is that we have an emotional, energetic body, and that the symptoms you're dealing with are just symptoms. You see, even if you look at sort of the names of a disease, for example, a disease, really, if you understand what that is a group of symptoms clumped together. That's what a disease is. And someone out there with like glasses that talks like this. I'm just joking. No, maybe he doesn't talk like that. Well, you have cool glasses. I'm talking about those other glasses that they really. Okay, so but they just talk like this. They just make a very professional name like that. That sounds like suffocatitis, whatever. You're just like, oh goodness, like what do I have now? Some other weird way to say like your liver is not working properly, right? But then, it'll say something to the extent also there it says, there's no way to really cure this. You're just going to have to like take medication the rest of your life. So I know the other side of someone visiting my father every single Wednesday as an oncologist and bringing really, really good food for some reason, like to like recommend medications, and he's like declining them and accepting them. Like I know what that pharmaceutical rep is trying to do with my father. And I know and they're telling my father, if you prescribe this, you can benefit from it. You see? And so I understand that system, and it's just broken. It's just broke. People are sick of Band-Aids. People are sick. People are sick of seeing their baby boomer family members suffer with that. They took pills for one symptom, and now they have multiple symptoms. We're calling you out, Big Pharma. We see what happened to our parents. We don't like it. And there's got to be a better way that our ancient fathers used to use. So when people say this is new age, it is the most ignorant comment I've ever heard. It is the returning of a pendulum that is coming the other way, because finally we're sick and tired of being sick and tired. That's what it is, you see? And so this is our way of kind of fighting back and saying, you know what? The body has more power than we believe. What God left us inside of us is way more powerful than somebody trying to say, let's put toxins in there to make you feel better, And so, but really what I want to share with you guys too is I am also a co-founder of an institute called the Inside Out Institute. And really what I feel this world lacks is just service, like people becoming powerful leaders and serving people. So we created a program where we're combining transformational coaches and we're combining energy healers to come together to go help to basically go through a graduation process when they work together to build their practice underneath the institute. So that's my new baby that I have now, because if there's anything that this world needs is a lot of leadership and a lot of energy healing. And if we get a movement going, then this world is a very, very different place. We got to get to the politicians. We can remove all their heart walls. We got to change everything. So people, and what we're seeing right now in the world, which is very horrible, is the ramification of healing unattended. It's people that have delayed the healing that they needed years ago, and now we're seeing the symptoms of it. That's all it is. All we see now is symptoms. You see? And so we have to go back to what's really causing it, and it's really like looking inward. If you change the inside universe, you change the outside universe. So anyway, so you can reach me at Compass Healings, I think with an S on Facebook. That's the best way to reach me. My wife, you can always email my wife at schedulemyhealing@gmail.com. You can always reach out over there if maybe somebody wants to comment on there. But yeah, I really am so grateful that you got me on here. And one of my favorite quotes from Dr. Brad said is this. He said that everything that's wrong with your life is just an energetic misalignment. I'll say it again. Everything that's wrong with your life is just an energetic misalignment. And what's really interesting about that is that beyond just removing pain from you, you can also, let's say you want to find a soulmate. And for some reason, every time you meet someone, they do the same thing to you every single time. Or how about every time you gain money, you start losing it all of a sudden, like it's someone pulls the carpet underneath you, and you're like, man, I just went 2 steps ahead, then I went 4 steps back, and no one knows what that is. But what if I told you there are energies that are creating that for you, inherited from your great-great-great-great-grandfather who lost his farm, got passed down all the way down to you, and that's affecting your current life right now. See, you wouldn't know that, but a body code practitioner can find it, pinpoint it, and release it. All of a sudden, you're like, man, wealth is just coming so easily to me, And so that's really what's also missing too, is that the invisible is making your life a living hell. You need to remove these certain things so you can move ahead. And even people who are like, man, every time I go to a relationship, they always beat me up. What if I told you have a shirt on that says kick me on it? An energetic kick me. And now people, whenever they get close to you, they just want to abuse you, make you a victim, or leave you, or abandon you. And you're like, man, that's why. That the whole time I've been suffering with that. You don't have to deal with that burden anymore. I have many clients that I work on different areas of their life beyond just pain and emotional stuff. Like I said, relationships, wealth, finding their mission, learning languages faster. I mean, you name it. Any area where you feel like, I wish I could just have more of this, the body goes like that. So it's very, very exciting.
Did you just say learning languages faster?
Yeah, I did. Yes, sir.
That's amazing. That's amazing. That's amazing. My wife mentioned that something about I think she was saying that the Lord was wanting us to understand different languages of culture, and like you're talking about the pendulum coming back in a different capacity, to where Babel, he caused a disarray or disarrangement of them trying to build something in a wrong capacity. And so he scattered their languages. And so, but now the pendulum, is trying to come around to where there is a unity of our language.
Yeah.
And so that was crazy that you just said that. And so, it's great to hear, because a lot of times people will say, oh man, this is a premonition, or this is some sort of confirmation of what I've been hearing today. Or, well, what that is you're aligned in the will of God for you. You're just so aligned to the perfect will of God, to where you're constantly hearing things throughout the day. And people look at numbers 222 444, all these different things. So all that literally does is showing you're connected to what we understand is the unseen. And the word, it says the unseen created the seen. So I mean, it's what we're seeing is that type of conversation. And so it's just fun to be able to constantly see the alignment of your day. You could have said something earlier today, you talked to someone and they just spurted on out. And it's like everything that God is trying to speak to you from is coming through a person or coming through an interaction. You go into Walmart where you're just seeing yourself being so aligned to what God is causing you to do every day. And that's a fun thing too. Meaning when you get your body code and all these things aligned and emotion code, you'll start seeing your life, just constantly speaking back to you. If you're speaking positive to your body, if you're speaking positive into other people's life, you're speaking positive into your surroundings and wanting these things to circulate, that's more powerful, like you're saying, than talking down on yourself, than talking down about somebody else and about dragging someone under the mud. When you start learning that literally being more positive and having a lot more enthusiasm, it literally is the sphere of God. And you're operating as a true son or daughter of God at that moment. And so I just was wanting to say that was funny that she said that, because we had that conversation with a few people today already, and then you said languages and all that. So I just think that was wonderful.
That's awesome. I love how that always works out. And again, I really feel I wish more Christian minds would become more open to this work. And again, it's like, that's why I offer introductory sessions, is because I want people to experience it for themselves, to see if it's something they can value for the future. And I really feel, again, I've picked up the Emotion Code book, and if it didn't have the word Jesus Christ in it, I would have dropped that book down. I just want to let everyone be very, very honest with you. If Dr. Brad wasn't a believer, if it didn't say my Savior in there, if he didn't even give credit to where it comes from, it's like, I have no problem dropping the book down and saying this isn't for me just because it doesn't align with my faith. I have no problem doing that. But because it did, and because it was the only energy healing book I've ever read, I don't believe in coincidence. So I know that I had to go through that route. And I know, like, one of my favorite sayings, it says that, who we are is God's gift to us. Who we become is our gift to him. So we have to make sure that, we have to participate in things that make us become better in every facet of our life. We don't want to bury our talents. We all know the story of what happens when you bury your talents. And so I really feel that when you use these different tools like the body code, we're just sharpening our gifts and talents. And that's how we give back to our Creator. That's how we love him even more, because we're showing, like, because you gave me much, I honor that I have these gifts, and I choose to give them to as many people as I can. I think it's very important. That is the secret to happiness, is find your mission and use your gifts and talents that God gave you. And if anything that helps you around that, I really feel like that's like the secret to happiness, in my personal opinion.
Amen to that, man. Y'all heard it first, man, from Emanuel here. He says, listen, if Jesus, I ain't hear nothing about the higher power, the higher authority here. If I didn't hear any credit or giving praise or giving, tribute to homage to the Most High God, the one that gave it to you, the gift giver, the blesser. In Hebrews, it talks about the one that blesses is have more authority or is better than the one that is being blessed. So, it's like, why wouldn't you want to give credit to or honor where honor is due? And so that was awesome to hear. So I know a lot of people, listen, you got to get with the program. A lot of things God has already tailor-made and trademarked and put his mark or his fingerprint on you. And a lot of times we have been hindered because we fear what other people may say. And I think it's universal. I don't think it's always culture by culture. I think it's universal. I think a lot of people will fear, period, what people may say if everything is, doesn't have some sort of Jesus magnetism on it, or some sort of God conversation all the way in a dual type of capacity. But you just literally live from the fruit of God's Spirit. You live from the fruit of God's presence in your conversation, in your aura, in meaning your presence, in the field of that electric magnetic field that is true, like you're talking about the heart. So I've done a lot of research about science on the heart. It can be up to about 12 feet or some people say 24 feet, depending on how strong and how developed you are in your spirit. And so that's all of those things are very, very true to live a daily life in. So you don't always have to say Jesus at the end of the sentence. You don't always have to say God for it to be God, or for God to be in the midst. A lot of times you are literally just a walking, breathing evidence of Jesus Christ's glory in the earth. You are the hope of glory.
And I don't want to be a hypocrite too and say I'm not grateful for Western medicine too. I mean, hey, if my arm gets chopped off, I mean, don't do a body code session on me. Take me to the ambulance and get my arm back together. Or if my heart is having a lot of pain, I don't want someone to work on my emotions. If I need a heart bypass surgery, but there's a place for both. But don't expect Western medicine to take care of your wellness. That's what I'm saying. It was never made. The system was never made for wellness. It was made for emergency situations. When you're already at the end of your line, then they come to the rescue. But there's ways to prevent you to go to that line. There's ways to stay healthy, to stay vibrant, to be higher frequency. And I think we need to use these tools, especially now during COVID. And I'll share with you this one last cool thing real quick.
Go ahead.
I know we're kind of over time here, but Dr. Brad, for example, his daughter had a headache, a migraine headache. Okay, it is 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock at night, and she's calling him, and she's the daughter of the guy who created the modality or discovered it, and he just says, okay, well, it seems like you have a deficiency. He's going to the nutrient section of the body code, and he says you need a certain nutrient, and I'm trying to remember. It was manganese. You need manganese to help out. Yeah, and then she's like, manganese. She's like, what am I? He's like, go to the store and get some manganese. She's like, it's 11 o'clock at night, Dad. I'm not going to go to the store and get some manganese. And he said, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and bundle it up for you energetically, and I'm going to send it to you. And I just want your body's going to receive it. So intention, he bundled up the supplements and the energy together, the nutrients together, and sent it energetically to the daughter. And then literally within minutes, her headache went away. Now, I remember I was in a seminar, and I was like, Dr. Brad was saying, he's like, it's so powerful that you can send nutrients to people and vitamins to people or herbs to people energetically before they receive it physically when they buy it, because there will be a time in the future where a pharmacy won't be open and a vitamin store won't be open, and we'll be locked in our homes. I mean, if that isn't COVID, I mean, we're getting that. So he knew this system, God already knew that we were going to go through this, that this is a perfect time for the emotion code body code system, because you can energetically work on a long distance basis. And if you have to send nutrients to people on an energetic level, I mean, that's just too coincidental. But he did say there will be a time where nothing will be open, and you will have to just send things to people energetically. I mean, it's very, very powerful. So I'm just letting you know, it's a very modern modality. Dr. Brad is still alive. There's still new certifications coming, like the belief code and all these different things. I mean, new stuff is on the horizon. And so, and you want to have the visionary alive, because now he's constantly improving the system because of what we're dealing with right now. Some of these energy healing modalities, much praise to them, but they're 2,000 years old. So they don't deal with the toxins we deal with now. They don't deal with other stuff, but this is the most cutting edge because the visionary is still here. So that's a very special thing we have with Dr. Brad and his work.
Wow, man, I am like, throw my glasses. Listen, y'all, I mean, I'm so excited. Probably just like Emanuel, man. I'm excited because, like I said, I'm a big person, period, in the supernatural, in a sense. I love to see people get healed. I love to see, the manifestations of people being better. And my mom died young. When I was younger, at 40 years old, I was 10 years old. I saw my mom pass in front of my eyes, basically, on the ground in front of everyone in the public. My father just passed away a month ago. I think a day or so after Christmas. So he had lung cancer, and then they said he died from COVID by finding out he had lung cancer. So he went in in November, and then he caught COVID from going. Find out, So it's just weird, So my point is, I'm such an advocate for wanting us to be better, wanting us to live longer, wanting us to be able to find out the progressive knowledge to be better and well. And I truly believe you, Emmanuel, man. I really do. You said, hey, keep the visionary alive. Keep those that God has giving. The information. You know what I mean? The revelation, the visitation to give us. And sometimes it can be burdensome. Sometimes it can feel weird. Noah building something, thought he was crazy until it started raining. You know what I mean? It's like talking about this, but no, now it's plain to see. You're going to need a different type of method for the madness that could injure society again. And so I believe, or tremendously debilitate and tremendously put fear. So all of these practices now that is being put to the forefront and heightened right now is so needed. And so, I'm just like, man, I'm excited and I'm ready to see, a lot of us grab hold to this, because prophets, and like I said, we're not negating their work to do what they've been doing, but like you said, there needs to still be a upgrade in the software. There needs to be an upgrade in the software. You may not need to change the hardware, but maybe the software definitely needs to be upgraded, and changed.
Yeah, brother. And you know what? I've done more missionary work with this work. Here's what's beautiful. It's got God's love is unconditional, and he's no respecter of persons, and it's really, really important that it's like, he doesn't love the Hindu person, more than the Christian person, or the Christian person more than the atheist. Like, he loves everyone unconditionally. He didn't love Paul more than Peter. He loves everyone. You see, all the same, and really that's never changing. Like, he loves everyone. As he says, in many ways, I'm trying to remember if it's a song. It says something about like the rain. Basically it goes on the preacher, but it also goes on the prostitute. Like, it goes on. Yeah. Like God doesn't, say
rain on just alike.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm not gonna just rain on the preacher. I'm gonna rain on everyone. That's how my love is. But the question is who's going to love him back? How do we show our love back to him? That's it. But the reality is like and that's why I love this work, because it's not like only if you're a Christian you can use the emotion code. Only if it's anyone can use it. I mean, there's so many people from different faiths that I've worked on. I've worked on people that are agnostic, that are atheists, that are Muslim. It doesn't matter. But it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. We have to kind of like put our foot down and say, well, who was Dr. Brad? Where did he get this from? He prayed about it. Okay, so is he a believer of Jesus Christ? He is. So that's just kind of an indirect way to say that where it came from, and to give credit to what we believe in already. So I've met a lot of people who don't believe in God, but all of a sudden start believing in God, because if my pain went down and this came because of a prayer that Dr. Brad made, then what does this mean? There is a God. Do you see what I'm saying? And so I just feel that it's a very indirect way to know that there is a creator up there that loves us. And so anyway, I'm so glad that I got to be here with you, and I appreciate you having me on here, and I appreciate all your fans that are on here. I really wanted to do this interview, man, because I was doing some stalking on your Facebook, and I was like, okay, Christian songwriter, okay, we're gonna have to do like a duet soon because I can sing too. But but I was just like, this guy, I felt good energy from you over the phone. I felt good energy with just like your presence and everything. So I was like, this guy like good people are together. He knows a lot of good people, and a lot of good people need to know what we're doing over here. It's almost selfish when you know something that's restoring you, and to keep it inside, it's almost a sin to do that. So it's very, very important to anytime you feel a change or transformation or God's love, if you're really feeling it, if you're really converting, you would even go to your enemies and tell them that this exists, because that's true unconditional love. You would go to your, as one of my friends, Jermaine Johnson, said, you would go to the person that abused you and try to heal them before you even heal from the abuse that they gave you. Or you would go to, or someone who was your ex that maybe caused you a lot of strife. You would heal them because it's bigger than both of you. You see, right. We just really need to get this message out there, and I'm so grateful that you took the time to kind of ask questions about it, and I'm glad I can provide some answers for you today.
Oh man, my pleasure, man. I thank you so much for joining and being here at Upchurch Music Radio, everyone. I appreciate all of y'all tuning in tonight on Christopher J. Upchurch Show. We're here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. And of course, man, you got a lot of different people, Edwin Channels, speaking to you and talking about, he appreciates you so much for talking about this and coming on. And many people need to be operating this as children of light. You got Paige Nicole Jones speaking about what she remember hearing in the emotional code training as well. So a lot of people have been blessed. My wife talking about, hey, if being healed, mind, body, and soul brings God glory, of course, she said, I'm on it. A paradigm shift of what God has been saying. So a lot of different individuals have been blessed, man, and just talking back and giving us feedback. Lori Beckman says, wow, just wow. I didn't know that about different languages. So, it's just a lot of different things that we're seeing growing into even what you've been talking about tonight. Is so much, man, about us. And so I'm excited for what God is going to do through anyone, again, like you're saying, and just like the word says, anyone that calls upon, or anyone that needs, anyone that wants to receive this. A lot of people were not saved when they got healed, so put it like that too. A lot of people gotta know that too. They didn't profess Jesus. Jesus healed them just because he wanted them to see the Father's love for them. Again, like you said, raining on unjust and unjust alike. So please don't feel any bias from this conversation tonight with Dr. Emanuel. And we appreciate him coming on and sharing his light, his story with us, and his mission for what he's doing here with Compass Healing, to heal the nation, to build what he's doing with Inside Out, and helping others grow and to become what he's doing, and growing and training and doing that. So a lot of you that are here tonight, make sure you go to, I hope this is correct, www.compasshealings.com. Is that correct?
I think that's correct. And then, yeah, like I said, you can always, if you're an email person, you can always email. That's the correct one. You can always email my wife, which is schedulemyhealing@gmail.com. And that's the best way to reach me out too. So you do that.
All right, y'all. Schedule my healing
at gmail.com. That's my wife's name's Jessica. And just say, I was on the Upchurch show, and I want to meet with Emanuel. What's going on over here? And then my wife will reach out to you, and then she'll probably ask questions like, do you have cool glasses like Christopher? And if you don't get a session, you got to just kind of upgrade. I'm just kidding.
I appreciate that. Hey, y'all, this has been awesome. How many people enjoyed this awesome interview with Dr. Emanuel? I call him Doc. And so I appreciate all of y'all being here, man. I mean, he's really literally taken us there tonight, and it's been awesome. And so we're going to go ahead. If you have any closing remarks, anything you want to say, you can take the floor if you want to, Emanuel. If not, we can go ahead and just close out. And here's the information: schedule my healing at Gmail, and of course www.compasshealings.com. So please make sure you follow Emanuel Zevallos on Facebook as well, everyone. He is CEO of Compass Healing, so I'm excited that he came on tonight. And please make sure you book some sessions and get this man in your life to help you. I believe he truly has a heart from God to be able to do this for many all around the world. So thank you so much tonight for joining. Anything else you want to say, Manuel, or we're good?
I just want to share. I just want to say that if you're having a rough year, if you're having a rough time, stay-at-home mom, stay-at-home dad, lost your job, lost a relationship, heartache, I just want to let you know that there's a lot of hope out there, and that you're not alone, and that there's so many people going through what you're going through. But I meet with people like you all the time, and there's one thing that I wish I was earlier in my life. I wish I was a hope dealer really early on in my life, but now I have something where I can provide hope, but I can actually do something to help you in your situation. I'm not the only practitioner out there. There's tons of them out there, and but I really feel like this is my mission in life. And my wish for everyone who listens to my voice is that you find your gifts and talents from God. My second wish is that you find clarity on your mission in life, because everyone has a mission in their heart. We just have to reveal it and find it. And my greatest wish, if I ever get to the other side, and I get to the pearly gates, if I get to the pearly gates, is that I helped a lot of people get to find their mission and help them to release their gifts and talents. That would be my greatest desire, and I wish that for everyone who hears my voice.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much, Emanuel. God bless you and Compass Healing and all that God has put on your heart and put in your body, put in your soul and spirit to do. We appreciate you, and we pray God's speed on everything that God has created for you to do, and be fruitful, multiplying it, and let it be a blessing to many others, and you and your wife, Jessica, and your family. And those of you that are listening, thank you so much for joining us tonight on Upchurch's Music Radio. I'm Christopher J. Upchurch, your host. And please make sure you follow us on Upchurch's Music Radio and stay tuned for many other shows we have going for Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And also my wife, she has her own show as well, Dr. Amanda Upchurch show as well. So, go follow her, check her out on what she's doing as well, y'all. This is all about the kingdom, and let's constantly spread it to every tongue, kindred, and nation, and all people, man. So thank you so much for joining us. God bless you, Emmanuel. Please have an awesome night. We're going to go ahead and close it out. Peace. I appreciate y'all. I'm going to go ahead and get the countdown tracker on. They probably think I'm rolling, I ain't on that. They probably think I'm rolling, I ain't on that. They probably think I'm rolling, I ain't on that. But what I got you need to know, because of me, I'm turned, 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 I'm turned. Everybody slow motion, even off the potion. I tell them I'm straight, trying to keep my mind focused.